Welcome to the Veterans Growing America podcast. I am here with the host, Donnell Johns, and we have an amazing guest for everybody today, Dr. Chris Armstrong Goings Sr. How's it going, my man? How you doing?
I mean, I'm doing great and I'm blessed. I just want to thank Veterans Growing America for this opportunity to talk to your community.
Hey, so Chris, first of all, thank you for being here. But let's tell the community share with them a little bit about your military experience and background.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I spent 22 years in the United States Army. All 22 years, I served as a 92 Yankee, the best MOS in the Army. So again, had a chance, like probably many of your community, to go see the mountains of Afghanistan. I got to see the deserts of Iraq. I got to see the war-torn buildings of Bosnia, and did tours all over Germany, Korea, Texas, and I retired out of Joint Base Lewis McChord in 2013.
Hey, so you are a program manager of VBOC. Can you tell us a little bit about what VBOC is?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. So the Veterans Business Outreach Center, or the VBOC, is a federally funded program from the Small Business Administration that is designed to teach transitioning service members, family members, veterans, Reserve, National Guard, the basics of entrepreneurship over a 2-day track. For our transitioning service members, that 2-day track is, of course, part of their Transition Assistance Program, our SFL-TAP program. And then for our veterans who have limited access to installations, we do a boost to business training virtually for them so they can get that same information as it relates to entrepreneurship. So that's essentially what the VBOC is. It's a federally funded program from the SBA. There's 28 VBOCs throughout the country, and that's responsible for our 50 states and our U.S. territories. So again, not every state has a VBOC in the state, but again, senators are always fighting to get a VBOC in their state because they see the resources that we bring to the table and how we can help our veteran community.
That's huge. I want to get a little personal real quick. Why did you get involved with the VBOC?
And that's the wild thing about, when you look into find resources. At the time, again, I had transitioned out of the military. So again, you're always coming across various resources. And just being the nosy guy that I am, I found a resource for the VBOC and the Boost to Business Reboot. So I took the class, got through the class, got my certificate. That led me to being assigned to the VBOC that I currently am the program director for. I was assigned a business advisor, and I was telling them what I wanted to do from a business perspective. And the young lady just happened to ask me, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a facilitator of the VBOC program?" I said, "No, never thought about it." Before you know it, and get off that call, I submitted a resume. Next thing you know, I'm a facilitator of the course. Now, mind you, at the time, I was doing entrepreneur things or business things. I was in real estate, but I was looking to launch a coaching business. And so going through that whole process, I was doing the facilitating for a couple of years. I guess I was doing a good enough job that they decided to promote me to the program director. And so that's how I came across the VBOC, just being inquisitive, looking to learn. Wanted to, I'm not a stagnant person. I'm always looking to challenge myself, and just came across the resource. And, I love my community, just like you guys do. I love the veteran community. I want to add value. And I said, well, does this make sense? Again, what I didn't say during my military career was I was a small group instructor at PODC. I was a battle staff instructor. And so I had spent plenty of time in front of people talking. And so it just made sense. When I looked at what the VBOC program offered, I looked at my history, my background, and then you throw in all my education. It just made sense. I was a veteran. I was doing entrepreneurial things. I wasn't afraid to stand in front of people. Could I add value? And all the answers at the end of the day came up, and yes. So here I am today.
So let's say if I was a family member or a transitioning soldier, and I wanted to link up with a VBOC, what can I expect to be educated on when I link up with you guys?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, first of all, let's just start with the transitioning service member because they probably got the easiest of all the processes because they're going to go through a counselor at their transition assistance program, and they're going to say, "Hey, I'm thinking about being an entrepreneur. Is there some track that I could get on?" And they're going to say, "Absolutely, you could take the Boost to Business track, which is a 2-day track that you could take." They got it probably the easiest, along with their family members, because again, we not only serve transition service member, we service family members, reserve guard veterans from any era. And the great thing about the program is we're not making this difficult for people who want to learn about entrepreneurship. We're not like, hey, you need to bring in your DD-214. We need to see your ID card. We're not doing all of that. We want some integrity. And so we want veterans, we want transition service members, we want family members to be entrepreneurs and leverage the skill sets that their particular branch of service gave them to be successful in their branch of service. And that those skill sets will help you be successful as an entrepreneur if you learn how to leverage that and utilize all the resource tools that we bring to the table as VBOCs.
So within the VBOC, is there anything that helps out with finances or anything like that?
Absolutely. So, and the way the modules are set up, essentially, so for your audience is when they come to a Booster Business class or a Reboot class, it's structured in 8 modules. Right? The first 4 modules are essentially centered around research. For most people, that's what we talk about on day 1. And so that's the least favorable information because nobody want to go to the library. Nobody want to use all the tools to get the information that they need to be successful. They just want to get to the money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then the second day is we start talking about entity selection. We start talking about business plans. We start talking about financing. And then we circle back to resources. So again, in our financing module, we talk about the importance of understanding the value of your name, aka your credit score, right? Because again, not everybody's in a position where they can self-fund themselves or their business. So again, you're going to have to learn how to leverage that 850 credit score by having a good name out here in these streets. So we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about some of the resources that are on base to help you understand or reading your credit score. Knowing what your FICO scores are, right? We talk about cash flow statements, P&Ls, balance sheets, financial feasibility worksheets. So again, we give you the baseline of the tools, and then what happens is in the classroom, it's foundational information. Again, you're not going to walk out of a 2-day track and say, hey, okay, I'm ready to be an entrepreneur. What you walk out of the class with is where the resources are, and then you have access to not only VBOCs, but all the other resource partners inside of the Small Business Administration to help you be a successful entrepreneur. So you don't have to take this journey by yourself, right? There's people like myself, other VBOCs across the United States, the Small Business Development Centers, the Women's Business Centers, SCORE, the Small Business Administration. They want to see veterans be successful. But I'm sure you guys have come across this. Oftentimes in our community, we have a hard time doing this and raising our hand, especially once we transition from the service. So what we try to do is to close that gap, to let you know it's okay to raise your hand. And when you raise your hand, there's going to actually be somebody on the other side that's going to help you. So we definitely talk about finances. And then inside of every VBOC, they belong to what we call a host. There's a host organization that controls the VBOC. In my case, out here in my region, my host company is Business Impact Northwest, which is a nonprofit organization who has multiple arms to help facilitate our clients inside of the VBOC, like you said, from a financing credit standpoint, a debt management side, and then other resources that we can tap into to help the client take the path that they need to take.
So it sounds like a lot of the resources get you close to really it gives you the foundation to start your business, right? I think the biggest thing in starting a business is that business plan. Based off of the information that you're giving them, how much confidence can a person have in their business plan or even building a business plan after walking away from the resources that you offer?
Absolutely. So again, one of the things is like in every course the Army gives it, there's an end of course survey. So one of the questions on the survey is, prior to coming to the class, what was your level of expectation as it relates to entrepreneurship? And that number is always low. It's always 3 to 10%. You know, after leaving the class, that number always skyrockets to around 75 to 85%. Because again, you have the baseline information, and what we do is once you can remove the resource lack that you don't know, like once you find out that there's a VBOC that's available to you, then you come to a class, and I start telling you about all the other resources of like utilizing the library. You'd be amazed at how many veterans don't even know the resources that are available to them at a library that's out there for free, that they can tap into. So once we remove that barrier, right? So now you come in guns blazing, because I'm going to give you some additional tools to help minimize the challenges that you think you're going to have putting together a successful business plan. And for me, once I correlate to them, hey, have you ever heard of an op order, a Warno, a Frago, a SOP, a continuity book, a MDMP? Have you ever seen or done any of that? Have you ever forecasted? Have you ever done any of that in your military career? When the hands go up or they go north to south, well, that's a business plan, right? Again, and then what I'm going to tie into them is I'm going to give them a SWOT analysis. I'm going to show them how to do a SWOT analysis. I'm going to show them how to do a PEST analysis, right? I'm going to show them how to walk through taking their ideas and see if it makes sense with a business model canvas. And that's going to walk you through identifying your value proposition, your customer segments, and all the other nuances that go into building that illustrious big old book that we call business plan. But we make it simple for you, so it's not that challenging. And I always tell the students and the clients, just remember this one thing the military gave you. They gave you one acronym that you probably ran away from, and that's KISS. Keep it simple and succinct, right? Who are you? What do you do? What do you solve? How are you going to solve it? Who are your competitors? And how are you going to overcome your competitors? And how are you going to scale your business? You can answer those basic line things right there. And then you do something stupid like call the person who's looking at the business plan and ask them what does right look like. They will tell you what right looks like.
No, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, you gave a lot of great information. Let's talk a little bit about Dr. Chris and your goals and plans and as far as your business is concerned. Can we talk a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about your goals and plans?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and before I jump into what it is I do, I just want to make sure your audience understands that when they're dealing with the Veterans Business Center, right, 95% of what we offer to our clients is Foxtrot, Romeo, Echo, Echo. So we're removing those barriers for why you don't want to start doing this, right? Because there's not a price barrier to what we do, right? And so now let me move on to Chris. So again, besides what I do for the Veterans Business Outreach Center, I recognize that there is a gap with men and the mindset that's required to step into entrepreneurship. So from a life coaching perspective, that's one of the things I want to fill that gap. I want to provide men with an opportunity in an environment that's safe, that's protected, so that they can grow professionally and personally, right? In an integrity-filled space, right? I really believe that we need to get men back out front, lead from the front, right? Again, some of our same principles that we've been taught in the military. I need you to get back out front, especially my fathers, right? Because again, we got to raise our young men right. And so that's what I'm looking to do from a business standpoint. Besides doing the stuff that I do in real estate, real estate is like, that's going to always be like kind of like my bread and butter thing. But it's like, I don't necessarily want to do it like from a full-time business perspective. It's just like when opportunities present themselves, I'm always ready to jump on something with real estate. But from a business perspective, I want to be able to tie the life coaching piece in to men to help them get the mindset that they need to get to, so they can step into entrepreneurship. And some of those men might just happen to be veterans as well, right? And so originally I wanted to just help veterans, but then I said, I need to open this up because I'm running into too many people as I travel that look like me. They have the same gender. And so I just want to help men, be better men.
Hey, so I think that is amazing. And I think that when you do research into your business and you start to decide what it is you want to do, and you start finding your target audience and you start finding like who you want to, your purpose. When you find your purpose, you find your passion. I think that is super solid. But let me ask you this though. So as you started to go through your military career, transition into entrepreneurship, I'm sure there are a lot of goals and key lessons that you learned during that time. What are some of those key lessons that you learned in the military that transition into entrepreneurship and the things that you do today?
Again, one of the main things is don't be afraid to fail, right? One of the things I love about the military, they give you so many great models, right? And so one of the models is like when you come in as an E1, right? And then you come out as an E8, you know, the E1 ain't supposed to look like the E8 on day 2. It's a process. So that's what I love about the military, because again, they showed you that it takes time. You don't have to microwave everything, right? And enjoy being an E1. And whatever rank you get to when you get to, that's just enjoy that process. Another thing is, basic thing, military always taught us about writing things down, right? The importance of writing things down, getting things out of your head, getting things on paper. So you don't need to retain that. Just put it on paper. You can see it on paper, and then you can execute that. Again, one of the things also is surround yourself with people who are always going to push you, right? And don't be afraid to receive feedback from individuals, right? It might be harsh, it might not be the way you delivered it, but get over that. But because again, you're trying to grow, you're trying to be better as an individual, right? And then always find the next person that's a little bit farther ahead of you, so you got something to strive for, right? You know what I'm saying? We always hear that people say, hey, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need to get another group. And so that's how I looked at it. Like when I was in the military, hey, when I was at E5, what they used to teach us, growing up, E5, hey, pin the E6 on so you got something to shoot for. And so that's the same kind of mentality I've always had. Hey, whatever rank I was, I wanted to be surrounding myself with E6, E7s, E8s, because I had a desire to get to those ranks. So again, I figured I need to start learning those things. Ain't no need for me to be talking to, let's say, E4, E3. I need to figure out who's ahead of me, what they're doing. I need to model that. That's another thing that I learned about modeling success, because again, success always needs clues, right? And if you're not visual and you can't pick up the clues, all you got to do is open your mouth and ask, right? And don't be afraid that somebody's going to tell you no or whatever. It's just a word in the English vocabulary that it's just 2 letters, right? Ask again. They might be having a bad day, right? I'm a firm believer you keep asking until you KNOW, right? and you're gonna figure this thing out. You just always push forward. That's again, like I said, the military is just little simple things, right? Like this, the 5 and 25 rule. You know what I'm saying? You just don't jump out of a vehicle. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship. You just don't jump out here in these entrepreneur streets. You check your surroundings. You do your research. Okay, it's clear right here. Let me step out a little bit further. Okay, what's out here I need to be aware of? Let me get this information. And before you know it, you full-fledged entrepreneur now here, or solopreneur, whatever it is your particular thing. Don't get caught up in titles.
No, that's huge. One thing that you said was surround yourself with the people that you want to be like. I know when I was an E6, I said, you know what, I want to be an E9. And so I asked an E9 how to become an E9 when I was an E6. And he gave me the rules on how to be there. And so when I got out of the military and I started Veterans Growing America, I was like, who has an organization that I can mirror my organization like? And that was ET. He has an amazing organization where he believes in mutualism and people working together. And he's built this amazing community. And I was a part of that community back in 2016. And I stepped away a little bit. And then I came back last year. And we're both in this coaching program together. Can you talk to me about, why you stepped into this program and why you went for self-development with Coach Eric Thomas?
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to you. I had found ET years ago, and I had got on board with some of his lower tier programs. I was like, okay, it's good information. It's around good people. But then again, I was scatterbrains. Like it was so many people that because I got into personal development, so I was like hearing all these people. So I had too many voices. So like you, I kind of fell off. I was listening to this person, listening to this person, doing this and that, and then finally, I had prayed about it, and I said, you know what? if ET ever comes back around and offers something that you can get direct access to him, I'm gonna get on board. And before you know it, the UOU summits were happening. And I already knew before the ask that I was already going to be committed, because I had just already prayed about it. And so what was there? What else was there for me to do? I had prayed about this. He came up with a solution for me to have personal access to him, to get, one-on-one mentorship with him. It was a done deal for me. And at this particular point, it's, been one of the best investments that I've made as it relates to personal development, just life in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel the same way. It was a trip because the person that opened up the UOU summit was actually my battle buddy and the commander that I work with, Rochelle T. Parks.
Mm-hmm.
And based off of her experience over the years, I watched her grow through the program. And I said, you know what? I got to jump in. I didn't know, how long this offer was going to last, but I was like, you know what? I got to be a part of this, because I needed to surround myself with people at that next level. And I knew it was going to be a financial commitment, but at the same time, without that, I don't think my organization would be where it's at today. So I'm definitely, happy that I made that investment.
Absolutely. Again, you got to. Again, the great thing for me is, because again, you like when you're in these personal development streets, you always hear you got to surround yourself with people who are trying to be better, and it breathes well when you hear that. But to really find yourself in a situation with people who are really trying to be better, generally trying to be better. Because now, a lot of times you get in these environments, people are always trying to sell something behind the closed doors, right? This is not what this environment is. This is an environment where people actually care about you, and the leader genuinely cares about the people that are in the group, and he wants nothing but to see them be successful. And so that's the phenomenal piece, and that's why I'm in the community again. And then on top of it, like I said, from afar, you see, oh, ET's YouTube, he's a star. He's it's like he's bigger than life. But then when you see and you meet and you talk to the person, he's just a human being that has decided that he wanted a different type of life, and he's living that life. And as a result of that, having direct access to that, I now see myself as that human being that can do some extraordinary things, just like my coach.
Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you, what is one of the most valuable things that you've learned since being in the community?
To dream wild thoughts. Now this is kind of crazy, because again, I'm doing, again, there's always layers to success and doing well, right? So in my mind, I'm doing pretty well. But again, growing up, so I'm living the dreams that I had as a kid right now. But again, those dreams were limited because I never saw this life that I'm living. Nobody was living this life that I'm living right now. So I said to myself, all I ever wanted to do when I get older is provide. I don't want my kids growing up in no ghettos. I don't want to be no bug infested or insect infested areas. I want a nice square foot home. I want my kids to have their own rooms. I want to have running water and electricity, AC, heat, right? And I want to have a couple cars that's paid for and a couple dollars in the bank, right? And I got to doing that. The Army provided me an opportunity to do that, along with some other things have allowed me to have that lifestyle. But to get in this side of this mastermind, when ET tells you, hey, dream wild thoughts, right? For the longest, when I would close my eyes at night, I didn't have dreams. I didn't have any dreams. I didn't think about another life bigger than this. I was like, man, I was on some selfish stuff. I had asked God to provide the type of lifestyle I'm living. He did, and he allowed me to have it. Little did I know, Robert and Donnell, is that I could ask him for some more. And he would give me more. It's just I gotta ask him. I gotta say, hey, why can't I have a 10,000 square foot home? Why I can't fly five? If I want to, this is one of the great things that I love about the mastermind and the community around the mastermind. When I heard Jamal say one time on the podcast, Jamal said, hey, yeah, we flying down from Chicago to Atlanta to go to a recital, and then we flying back that night back to Chicago. I said, I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong. Because I'm always in my mind, I'm always thinking like, if I got to go somewhere, I got to make it a week long or 2 weeks long to make it worth me paying for a first class ticket to go somewhere. And then when Jamal said that, I said, man, you living too small of a life, young fella. You living too short of a life. There's people flying around this great country every day from the East Coast to the West Coast. They leaving the West Coast in the morning to get to the East Coast. They doing their business and they flying right back to the West Coast. And I said, hold on, are they human? And I got to say, yeah, they are. They're human, Chris. Right? They just like you, right? I said, hold on, I need to do something different. Again, Mastermind's giving me the opportunity to think like that. And not only is it doing that for me, it's doing the dumb thing. This is a dumb thing. It's trickling down on my kids. They over here seeing me live a lifestyle. They seeing me asking the Lord for a wild lifestyle. When I say, hey, Lord, you know what I'm saying? What I need to do? Who do I need to become to do this? How are we gonna do this, Lord? You know what I'm saying? And so I get excited thinking about that and what the community has unleashed in me. You know what I'm saying? Because again, be proud to join this community. I might have never ran into Donnell. I never maybe met you, Robert. You know what I'm saying? But because I'm having wild thoughts, I'm willing to have wild thoughts. I'm willing to scale and push myself. Now here it is. I'm on a podcast with Veterans Growing America. And maybe somebody hear one thing I said today. And they might be able to take action on something. Maybe somebody do something stupid, like go and find out what the hell the VBOC really is. And is there a VBOC in this state to help them, you know what I'm saying? Because so they can get past the hurdle.
You just summed up the reason why I put Veterans Growing America together. And there's a reason why we have growing in the name, right? Because you have to grow mentally, physically, emotionally to be able to get your mind from that. Because we're put in the military and we have this big bubble around us where it protects us from all of this stuff. And then we leave the military and we don't have that bubble anymore, but we have this big world that we could step into, that we could be whatever we want, and we shouldn't have any limitations based off of the stuff that we've been through. And so if we use that mission that we were given and all of the resources that we were given while we served, we can make all of those dreams come true and live the life that we deserve to live after we take off this uniform, or even while we're serving this uniform. And so we could have military millionaires serving or not serving by just dreaming a little bit. So Dr. Chris, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of Veterans Growing America. Thank you for taking the time when you made it to DC, jumping in your car, not jumping in a car, but I think you took an Uber from DC to Veterans Growing America to come and support what we're doing at VGA. And so I want to thank you. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that experience and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Again, number one, because I'm a firm believer. And then like when life presents an opportunity to close a gap, right? You know, because we had talked virtually and we had seen people on each other on Zooms. So again, I'm in DC, right? You're right next door to me. So again, when you can allow life to put barriers in front of you. There was a barrier. I didn't have a rental car because again, I was at a conference, so our company wasn't paying for rental cars. So I had some decisions to make. Again, the same things that we did in the military. Okay, I'm here. A, I need to get to B. How can I get to B? I can catch a bus, a train, a Uber. Right. And then the dumb thing is once I do something stupid, like say, hey, Don, I'm going to be there. Right. I'm going to be there.
Right.
Right. I'm going to stand on my word. Somehow I'm going to get to where I got to get to. Right. And when I got there, number one, like I said, because I had just understood the concept. But you know what I'm saying? It's one thing to understand the concept, but then you physically see the concept is totally different. So when I walked in and I seen all of the stores on the outside of the thing, and that particular night was set up for a networking event, so I didn't get to even see the full-fledged Veterans Growing America concept. I just seen elements of it, but I saw your passion firsthand. right? I seen how you wanted to pour back into the community. I seen how you encouraged everybody that was at the event to communicate with one another, right? I saw how you took vendors. I saw how you took the vendors and gave them opportunity to talk about their particular products and services, right? I saw you doing the things that you needed to do to bring people in. You offered food. You provided a safe place for people to come in and exchange ideas and just talk to people who that looked like them, right? Who had the same aspirations. They wanted more, right?
Mm-hmm.
You provided a space that you can show them what happens when you have an idea. You put some love and some passion behind that damn thing, right? You get past all the challenges and the barriers that are going to pop up, and you just get to executing, even with the barriers happening, right? And so, if for me, it was a phenomenal thing. Number one, I got to close the gap between me and you and Tonda, right? And Donnell Jr., right? And some of your staff, right? And some of the vendors right there doing these things real time. And the great thing was the vendors, they all served their country at one particular time. At least all the ones that I talked to, right? Served their country honorably, right? And now they were looking to, get into some of this capitalism that's in this great country. So it was a phenomenal experience for me. And it just made it real. Again, what I'm doing as a VBOC, again, it's a model that I can talk to people in my class when I go out and I'm training people. I can pull up VGA's stuff and show them, right? I can show them pictures. I can just do basic Google. I can type in Donnell Johns, and when you jump on the internet, there was going to be a picture of you showing up in your CSM uniform. So I can correlate that CSM right there to this owner of VGA and how they did this, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been an honor having you on the podcast. And you actually met my basic training battle buddy that night, Andre Fortune. Me and him went to basic training, AIT, and Desert Storm together. And we're still friends to this day. And so you got to meet one of my oldest friends that I served with from the time that I went to basic training all the way, into my first deploy. Actually, we deployed twice together, and he was in my wedding. So no, that was a huge day, and I appreciate you coming out and supporting. And wrap us up, Rob, and get us up out of here.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, Dr. Chris, man, how can we get a hold of VBOC in our location, and how can we get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So for your listening audience, again, to find out where their specific Veterans Business Outreach Center is, you just go to sba.gov/VBOC. It's just that simple. sba.gov/VBOC. When the website comes up, all you need to do is punch in your zip code, and it's going to show you where the VBOC Center is. Hopefully, you're fortunate enough you have a VBOC in your state. If you don't have one in your state, don't worry about that. There's a VBOC that covers your region. And so we got that. Again, there's 28 VBOCs across the United States and our U.S. territories. As it relates to, reaching out to me, again, specifically for this particular audience, they can just I'll give you my work email. It's Christopher, CHRISTOPHERAG@businessimpactnw.org. Again, Christopher AG@businessimpactnorthwest.org. Again, you just reach out. I'll answer your questions. And if more than anything, if you can work with us specifically in our VBOC, I'll point you in the right direction to the VBOC Center that you can reach out to, and we can go from there.
Hey, Chris, man, we really appreciate you for coming on. Hey, Donnell, I want you to tell the listeners, how do they support Veterans Growing America?
So first and foremost, I need y'all to go to veteransgrowingamerica.com. I need y'all to click on that donate button, and I need y'all to donate and support what we're doing. If you like what we're doing right here, donate so we can support more veterans and helping their business grow. My name is Donnell Johns, founder and CEO of Veterans Growing America. And my co-host here is Rob. And thank you so much, Dr. Chris. Appreciate y'all. Have a good evening.
And we are out, over and out. And don't forget, all you got to do is
shop, baby.